Oh boy, this is very expensive. What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we're going to be talking about the DualSense Edge. Sony has just released a $200 PlayStation 5 controller, which I decided to pick up. This is a very pricey gadget, but honestly, I was very curious about it because I do very much love my PlayStation 5. I've been playing it constantly, beating exclusives, getting all the platinum trophies I can possibly get, and as soon as I pick this thing up, it definitely feels different. It definitely feels better, but for that heavy price tag, is it truly worth it? Let's discuss. Hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, first and foremost, what makes this feel so unique compared to the original PlayStation 5 controller? Now, at first glance, they seem very similar. This is the launch controller that came with my PlayStation 5. This is obviously the DualSense Edge. At the front, they're pretty dang similar. Other than some cool extra shininess, you can see that the touchpad actually has these cool little extra PlayStation decals. What makes this thing truly stand out is when you flip it over. On the back of this is where this controller really begins to stand out. It has lots and lots of extra triggers here. It's got these little switches. Now what this does is honestly the name of the game. The whole point of the DualSense Edge is being able to customize your experience. As soon as you plug it into your PlayStation 5, it actually pops up this entire menu that lets you just change and custom tailor every button on the controller. You can program everything. So if you want X to be O, if you want these back paddles to be R2 and L2, literally every single button is now completely mappable, which is great. But here's the other part of this. If you're somebody that doesn't particularly like the back trigger functionality, you can remove these if you want. In fact, it's super easy to do. You flip this little release switch, they pop right off. There is a custom spot inside the carrying case which comes with it. I mean, it's pretty cool that you could actually change every bit of this, including how much vibration it has. You can change it so the haptic triggers are more or less sensitive. But here's the other thing you'll notice on the back, which is these little teeny tiny levers, these little tiny doodads. So what this does is that if you actually turn these up, it changes the amount of pull it takes to activate the trigger. So see, look at this. I have it at max sensitivity now. It goes down less than a centimeter before the trigger actually activates. Whereas if I turn it back up, now I have the full range again, where it goes all the way down into the controller. Now this sounds minor, but I've been testing this out today. When you're using this, especially in a first-person shooter or something, this does make the difference. I noticed myself easily getting a lot more kills because, honestly, the fact that it takes such a short amount of time to aim down the sights, the shorter amount of time until I'm activating and firing bullets, that extra bit of microseconds in a firefight that's raw reaction time definitely makes a difference. Now, if you're thinking that the programmable buttons might be a pain in the butt because obviously you'll have to go back into the PlayStation menus every single time you want to change your dead zones and stuff like that, that's actually what these little teeny tiny things here are. These are your function buttons. You can switch between profiles. By holding these, you can set, go, and change whether you want to do profile setup 1, profile setup 2. So if you have certain games you like to play most, whether it is Gran Turismo or you want to try and set it up for a custom combo in fighting games, you can easily flip between it. Now, here's the other physical thing they decided to add to this, which is that they put in these little extra joystick options. So they're super easy to swap out. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of impressed by how easy this is to do. Some people have been having troubles with their PlayStation 5 controllers, joysticks eventually breaking. One of mine actually broke after playing it for pretty much hardcore every single day for a year and a half. One of my joysticks completely disintegrated. Well, their answer to that is the fact that now they're going to have these replaceable, super easy to pop off. Whoops, I just turned on my PlayStation 5 by accident. But you can now just pop these off and replace them super easily. And these extra sticks, you can hear how well they snap on. they feel great. These are the taller joysticks. There's like a taller variation. There's a shorter variation. There's the default sticks as well. I think this is actually kind of awesome. I hope that future PlayStation 5 controllers have this ability of swapping the sticks out for customization purposes. But now let's talk about the big downside of this thing. Honestly, the price is kind of insane. The fact that this is just some cool controller caps, it's got the programmability, that's nice, but honestly, for $200, this carrying case, as cool as this is, while it's covered in actual Cheeto dust, this thing, I mean, how much am I really going to be carrying my PlayStation 5 controller around? Like, I'd go to conventions and stuff, but when I'm traveling, I'm going to bring my Steam Deck or I'm going to bring my freaking Nintendo Switch. There are very few occurrences where I'm actually going to be wanting to take my PlayStation 5 on the go. And if I do, I'm probably not going to want to bring a $200 controller with me. Like, that's $700 just sitting in my freaking suitcase in an airport. No freaking thank you. Now, the other downside to this, which honestly is the number one reason I regret buying this, is because, honestly, the battery life on this thing sucks. Now, PlayStation sort of hinted that this was going to be a problem before it came out. Upon my own testing, and a lot of other people can verify this, the battery life of the DualSense Edge is about 4 hours long. 4 hours from full charge to dead. Like, maybe if you turn down the brightness, if you turn off the vibration and stuff like that, it lasts about 5.5 hours. But that's a pretty gigantic downstep from the 10-hour battery life of the default PlayStation 5 controller. Now, to be clear, I actually think the PlayStation 5's normal controller already does not have the best battery life. I play games a lot. Typically, I wake up every morning, I edit a video, I deal with some emails, I go to the gym, and then I will game a lot of times 5, 6, 10 hours in a day. I mean, just earlier this week, I played 12 hours of Forspoken in a single sitting, and I had to completely charge up a controller, run it dead, and then switch to the other controller. If we're talking about a 4-hour battery life, that is insane, and we know why. They actually shrunk the battery inside the console itself. They actually shrunk down the battery to make more room for the better vibration and all these cool new technical features. That sucks. Now, their answer to this is inside the box itself, you'll find this weird little connector looking thingy. So what this does is it is a special locking mechanism so you can actually permanently connect your USB to the controller itself. This makes it where you'll actually be able to connect it onto your PlayStation 5 like this. You'll put the USB into here, and it makes it where your DualSense Edge will be permanently wired. This is the solution they have, is to make it where your $200 controller works kind of like those $10 USB controllers you see at GameStop. This controller is great. It is cool, but I'll be honest, the main reason I'm kind of happy to have it is because it's a cool collector's item. I'm not really a controller collector, but it's one of those things that I feel like maybe I will bust out if there's a particularly difficult boss I'm fighting in a Final Fantasy game. Maybe I can program it so that I'll have a potion button on the back of my controller or something like that. But for the most part, I kind of feel like because it is just so ridiculously pricey and the battery runs dead so fast, I'm probably just going to put it on my shelves and go back to using my cool God of War controller or something instead. This is probably where it's going to live. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts about the DualSense Edge. What do you think about this controller? Are you happy with it? Are you sad with it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And please, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, keep dreaming. Oh man, $200. I appreciate the likes on this video because this was an expensive video to make.